Hey, it's me, Mercury, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a what if Deku had was the son of Hephaestus. Now, I want to start off by telling you some of the powers that it'll have, or abilities. And yes, he's going to have a quirk. His quirk's going to be called Imaginary Metal. So basically, any metal that he can imagine, whether it be real or fake, he can create that metal and, well, use it to create weapons or robots or stuff like that. Now, his powers as a demigod of Hephaestus, well, he's going to have uh, technokinesis, which is the ability to manipulate technology. And he's going to have pyrokinesis and heat resistance and a few other abilities. Now, so yeah, those are some of his powers. And I'll probably come up with more to fit the story. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. So we're going to start this off with Hephaestus, because we all know that Hephaestus and Aphrodite is married, and Aphrodite has affairs with Ares. So we're going to start off with Hephaestus trapping, like setting up a trap for Ares and Aphrodite. And Ares has had enough. And he goes to Hephaestus and they start to fight. And Hephaestus isn't really a fighter, I don't think. Well, he's a fighter, but he's not as good of a fighter as Ares. So he gets beaten, and Ares tries to kill him. But he gravely injures him, and Hephaestus barely escapes by falling into the ocean. Now, Ares thinks that he killed Hephaestus, and he was happy. And Aphrodite's happy because she's no longer married to an ugly loser, basically. And she can now marry Ares. So she thinks. And, well, Hephaestus is going to be under the sea for quite a while. Let's say about 30 years under the sea, drifting, until he lands, until he washes ashore on a island. Well, on a beach, on an island. And he doesn't know where he is. He's confused because the place feels different from what he's used to. He doesn't feel powerful. He feels weakened, and that his powers are, how do you say this? Oh, dampened is a word, but oppressed. His powers are oppressed. Now, he knows that there's only one to two reasons for this. One, he's become human or more human, or two, which is the most likely one, is that he's in another god's domain. Well, another religion's domain. So he gets up, he drives off, and he just walks around, just like looking. So I want to say it's about right when quirks are manifesting. Now, demigods can actually use their powers in society because, well, they're kind of like quirks. Now, quirks are not related to the gods. It's something else. Now, Hephaestus, he walks around and he's just exploring the place, and well, he goes to a store and he's well, no, not to a store. He finds a smithery, a guy that sells knives that he makes, like weapons that he makes, and he asks the shop owner where he is, and he tells him that he's in Japan. Then he asks, "How? Why do you not know where you are?" So Hephaestus thinks, and he says, "I lost my memory. I don't know much, but I do know my name." And Hephaestus, he changes his looks, because I want to say he can do that. He changed his looks to like around a 20-year-old, but he's still the same. I want to say he got a little skinnier. Well, he's looks 20. Okay, let's just say that. Yeah, he looks 20. He tells him his name, Hephaestus, and that's about all he remembers. And he asks, "Do you know a place where I can stay?" So the guy says yes, that you can stay with me for the time being until you find a place. And well, he lets him in. He takes him to the back of the shop where his smithery and his house is, because his like it's the shop, the smithery, and then there's a stairs leading up into their house. Like there's shops like that, so yeah. That's how his house is built. House and store is built. So he introduces him to his wife. I want to say they're about 55 years old. The husband, and the wife is around 45. No, not 45. 49 years old. And well, they kind of view him as their child. Well, after a while, because Hephaestus goes downstairs, like, one night, a few years later, Hephaestus goes downstairs because... No, one night the old man goes downstairs because he heard somebody forging. And he gets one of the weapons that he made because he doesn't know that Hephaestus forges. And he goes down and he sees the skill of Hephaestus, like how good he's forging, and just like like how well how perfect the weapon that he's making is. Like, he can see that there's no impurities in the metal or nothing like that. Now, I know a bit about forging. Well, blacksmith. Well, forging, yeah. I know a little. But, yeah, let's continue. So, let's see. So, the old man walks up to him and asks, "What's he doing?" And Hephaestus is startled because he's done this multiple times throughout the years, and the old man's never noticed. But Hephaestus can slowly feel his power returning by by forging. Like, he's just forging weapons, and he's getting his power back because the old man is appreciating his craftsmanship, but he doesn't know who does it. So he finds out who does it, and he asks the boy. Well, he asked Hephaestus if he would work for him, and he'd pay him, and he'd let him live there. And one day, maybe he can take over the place because, well, he doesn't have kids. And Hephaestus is surprised by this because he didn't want to impose on the humans for much longer. He's saved up money, and he's going to move out and probably start his own forging place. But hearing this, he's grown fond of the old couple. So he says yes, and, well, the old man asks him if he could teach him a little bit about forging because his technique is better than his. So honestly, that goes on for a few years, and the old man is now 80, and, well, I want to say the woman died. Like, just for the story sake, the woman died probably about 13 years earlier. She died of natural causes. She wasn't killed, nothing like that. And Hephaestus was there for the old man throughout the entire time, and he saw him more like a son than anything else. And he treated him like he was his own. So, and Hephaestus learned more about the culture and how to write. Like, for some reason he could speak Japanese, but he didn't know anything else. The old man taught him stuff that he needed to know and how the currency worked. And everybody knew the shop to have nearly perfect weapons. Like, not just like perfect weapons, but like the craftsmanship is the finest that you'll ever find in Japan, in almost around the world, because there are like a few people that Hephaestus favored basically, and granted them like wisdom and stuff like that on forging. So yeah, he basically gave them his blessing, but none of it compared to what he could do. And, well, everybody knew about it, but nobody knew who made the stuff, because he didn't just make weapons. He's made armor, like just about almost anything you could think of. And, well, the place becomes so big that Hephaestus, the old man, and Hephaestus started their own company. So basically, they made so much money that they bought a second place, and they bought a shop to where they could put the weapons on display, to where they can look at them and choose what to buy. And they were able to hire more blacksmiths, which Hephaestus chose carefully, who to pick to give his blessing to. And he picked about 4 or 5, and they all became close. They were all best friends. Now Hephaestus, he aged like a normal human because he wanted to seem human to them, but all while everybody's like saying that the person who did this must be a god, and they're praising him like his artsmanship artsmanship. So he's been getting more power, and he's slowly like transitioning from Greek to Japanese, and everybody can see it. Like he's staying the same, but his power is like from Greek to Roman. Like I want to say that. Uh, yeah, I don't know what to say for that, but yeah, he's like he basically like gets a new name. Like as he's slowly transforming, like a name's just like popping up in his head, and it's slowly spreading throughout Japanese culture. When I say slowly, I mean slowly. It's not going extremely fast. By the time Deku's born, he's going to be a well-known god in the Japanese culture. Now, I don't know what name to give him, so I'm going to leave that up to you all. Pick a good name, whatever. Leave it down in the comments. But yeah. So I want to say he tells the old man and the other five his secret that he's not exactly human. And they're all like disbelieving until he tells them that he's the Greek god Hephaestus, and that's why he can craft so well. And he can basically make anything that you can put your mind to. Well, almost anything. So they give him stuff to craft and so little stuff to use because he says he's a god that can craft basically anything. So he crafts everything with junk, like the dirtiest stuff that you could ever imagine, like the dirtiest metals, jewels, like broken stuff, like half a jewel. He turns it into like an extremely beautiful necklace, and they're all just amazed by it, and they like believe him. But he's saying that something's changing in me from the past few years. I want to say it was 5 years later. The old man's 85 now, and he's actually going pretty strong because, well, he's extremely healthy. I want to say he'll probably live about to 110, maybe. So, but let's see. No, cancel part of it. He doesn't tell them that he's feels something changing. Well, yeah, he tells them that he's losing his connection to the Greek mythology, like his Greek side, and something new's coming up out of him, like a different personality, because Greek and Romans have different split personalities. Well, the gods basically have split personalities thanks to the Romans. And Hephaestus knows this, and it's slowly forming. And he knows that the more he gets recognition for his craftsmanship, the more this personality will be. Now, most of the time he separates himself from mortals so he can stay a god, because in Percy Jackson, if anybody's read the book, Poseidon almost became human. No, I think that's how it goes. It's in the movie. I know it's in the movie. I forgot. It's been so long since I read the book. But Poseidon almost became human from staying with Percy and his mom. for so long, getting physically attached to him. So yeah, that happens. But he's mostly working the forge, like other stuff, and at this time, Hephaestus hasn't came back. Nobody knows if he's dead or alive. Ares thinks he killed him. Aphrodite thinks he's dead, and well, they set up a marriage for about. They set up a marriage. They set up a marriage about 10 human years ago, and today's the day that they get married. And when Aphrodite goes to say her vow, like I do, in her vow, I do, she can't say it. Because something's blocking her from saying it. And she says that I can't say the words. And everybody's kind of confused because Hephaestus is dead, and so she should be able to move on. I'm gonna say like the guys that get married, they can't marry somebody else. That's why this is happening. Unless the person that they're married to dies, which is extremely rare. So I want to say nobody realizes this except for Zeus, because I want to say Hephaestus, like, no, not Zeus. I want to say Poseidon. Everybody except for Poseidon knows that. No, nobody except for Poseidon knows that Hephaestus is alive, because Poseidon is god of the sea, and he fell into the sea. So he's able to tell if Hephaestus died, and he's like healed Hephaestus up a little so he could survive. Because, well, they're friends in this. Like, they're pretty close. And he sent him away, and he got into contact with other gods to send him a place where he can be safe for the time being to gain his strength back. And unbeknownst to, well, I want to say that Zeus figures it out thanks to the marriage, but nobody else does, because Zeus is the one that first figured it out, because he tried to marry another goddess without her knowing, because he's a fuckboy. We all know he is. So he's the first one to figure it out. He's tried marrying 5 other times before he truly figured it out that if you're married once, unless you have a divorce or the person dies, you can't get married again. You can have affairs, but you can't get married again. So he's taken aback by this because Ares says that he dealt a extremely fatal blow to Hephaestus, and he fell into the sea, so he thought he was dead. And Zeus, he stands up and he says, I have something that I need to take care of. Something just came up. And he leaves. And Poseidon's not there. He's out there waiting for Zeus because he knows that Zeus tried to get married multiple times. And he knows, and Zeus told Poseidon about the marriage thing. So Poseidon never got married. Well, they can marry gods, and they can't get married to other gods, but they can marry humans. Because that's how this is going to work. So, let's skip. See. The old man's 85, I believe. No, he's 80, I believe. No, 85. Let's skip about 15 years, I believe. Let's skip to when the old man's 100. And, well, the old man, like, officially passes down the property to Hephaestus. Like, he can take care of it for a little bit longer, but he doesn't want to take the chance that people will come and try to take the property away from him. So he gives it to Hephaestus legally. But he doesn't put his name down as Hephaestus. No, no, the other gods are just what the like no god is going to get involved with this. Well, besides Zeus and Poseidon, and maybe I don't know if they have a blacksmith god. Hold on, let me check. Oh well. But yeah. So the old man's 100, he passes it down, and Zeus and Poseidon show up at the door. And I want to say it took this long because the Japanese gods were hiding Hephaestus until they could be sure that Zeus and Poseidon weren't holding any hostility because, well, the promise that no, they'd let Poseidon know where Hephaestus is, but they wouldn't let Zeus know, and Poseidon wouldn't go there because if he does, Zeus can track him. But they don't let them in until they can be sure that Zeus is not going to hurt Hephaestus, which is a promise that they made. And, well, Poseidon gave the thing that they want, that Poseidon already fulfilled his side of the promise, and they're just fulfilling theirs. And, well, yeah. I'm not going to say what they have. It's probably going to be, I'll probably tell y'all in the future, but I have to think of what it is for now. Because I'm just going off the top of my head. And so, let's see. Hephaestus is kind of surprised that Zeus is there, and not so much that Poseidon is there because, well, he fell into the sea, which is his domain. Well, partly his domain. And, well, they can tell there's a slight change in Hephaestus. He's not as weak as they are. If Zeus was to go against them, they'd probably be on equal footing. Hephaestus probably having a slight advantage over him. Now, let's see. Hephaestus invites them in for a drink, and the old man's wondering who they are, and he's just like he's drinking with them, but he's just not doing his own thing, but while wondering who they are. He doesn't listen in until Hephaestus introduces him, saying, "This is the old man that took me in. I'm gonna name him. Let's see, Jin. I'm gonna name him Jin." He introduces Jin, and well, they say, and he says that he knows that he's not human because he's trusted him. And he actually gave him his blessing, which is why he's still alive. And, well, let's see. Oh, I forgot what I was going to do. Well, the old man, Jin asked Hephaestus, who are these two? And Hephaestus looks at him and says, "This is Zeus and this is Poseidon, my father and uncle, basically. I think, yeah, my father and uncle." And, well, the old man's not surprised that they're gods, but kind of surprised that it's his father and uncle. Like, oh, I didn't realize that your relatives, well, that they were coming over. If I did, I would have prepared better tea for them. And they're saying that it's fine that he doesn't have to. And well, hold on one second. Uh, damn. Okay. So he's he tells him they tell him that he doesn't have to and that he didn't have to. They're just here for on a secret visit to see when Hephaestus is coming back. And Hephaestus, he's like, I don't think I'll come back anytime soon. Probably in a, let's see, a few hundred Earth years, human years, and they're kind of surprised because they thought he'd want to come back, and he's just doing this to like partly piss off Ares and well, no, he doesn't know until Poseidon tells him before like they ask him when he's coming back that Aphrodite and Ares tried to get married a while ago, and Aphrodite couldn't complete the vows. And Hephaestus laughs, and Zeus tells him why, and he's kind of shocked, but then thinks, I'm going to use this to piss those two off. Yeah, they can have affairs, but they're not going to be able to get married like they want. So, he uses this to his advantage and just to piss them off. And, well, yeah. Now, they leave, and Hephaestus, like, starts to take care of the old man, like, get him, make some food, stuff like that, because, well, the old man's taking care of him, so, like, provided for him for so long, and he's trying to provide for him back because, well, yeah. So, let's see. Let's skip 9.5 years later. Now, the old man's in the hospital because I would say he's sick. Let's say that he got, I don't want nothing too extreme. No. Let's say the old man was a smoker and he got cancer a few years ago. And Hephaestus, he's saddened by it, but he's trying not to let it affect him because, well, he knew he shouldn't have got attached, but he did. And, well, oh my gosh, why? Just why? Hold on. Okay, I don't know if that fixed it. Where the notifications will pop up, but oh well. So, let's see. Yeah, the old man has cancer, and Hephaestus got attached. And he's, like, kicking himself because he got attached, and he shouldn't have. And, well, he's trying to get the old man to like the cancer out, but nothing's working. None of the treatment's working. And well, he goes into, well, let's say that he goes into science a little because of this. And yes, this is kind of where the new powers will come from. And well, he goes into science and he's building machines along with using the science. This and he's got pretty dang good at it, and he's known. Well, I want to say he gets known as the creator, like as engineer, a scientist engineer. Like he's performed miracles, but the one thing that he cannot do is cure the old man, and he doesn't know why. Like even the god of death, like he saw the man, like the Japanese god of death, saw the man's fate change when Hephaestus built a new one, but it just changed right back. Like, because he even gave it to, like, he's whispered in, he did, like, even when a human made something that could do it without any god's blessing, that could cure the old man, it changes for a second and then just reverts back. Like the old man, like even the red strings of fate, well, the fates, they cannot get a read on this man. He's like, they don't know why his fate is changing so much, and they know it's not because of Hephaestus. Well, they think it's because of Hephaestus, but they know that he's supposed to be in their life, and like they want to do it, but they know that Hephaestus can probably change it, so they're waiting until the last second, which is why the old man lives the next half year. And let's say that time comes and he thinks that he finally got something. But and he brings it to the hospital just to find that the old man died. Now he looks, let's see. Oof. Let's see. The old man was 55. So I said he looked 20. So 45. He looked 65. Then he looked. So 55 to 110. Damn. 45. 100. 55. He looks he's 75 years old. Well, he looks 75 years old. And, well, he comes up with a fake name and everything else, like a fake child, like to where he can become him, and like he just does that throughout the rest of the years, so he can keep the place, and it's like the thing's just booming. Everybody that goes there becomes a master blacksmith. Now, all the craftsmanship is done by hand, and he starts up a side business, and it's booming as well. He gets craftsmen, like engineers, craftsmen, stuff like that. Because Hephaestus is basically an engineer of sorts. He gets scientists, like, he's now, like, his Japanese god, like, god personality is, in his powers, is going to be blacksmithing and basically science. So yeah, no science, medicine, stuff like that. And he's going to be known as those three things. And well, let's let's skip let's skip to the day that he meets Inko. Now, he looks 25 and no, how old is Inko when she has? Okay. His Hephaestus is going to be 28 in this. 28 and Inko's going to be 26. Now, they meet up at a coffee shop. And Hephaestus sees Inko. Now, the name that he's going by now is Hisashi Midoriya. Well, because that is Jin's last name, Jin Midoriya. Now, he took on his last name so his family name would live on. And well, no, let's make her 24, give him 2 years. Let's make her 24 and him 20, let's see, 26, I said 27, I believe. So a year apart. Let's just make it a year apart. She's 24, he's 25. And, well, there's no more seats left, and he's sitting down. Every seat's taken besides the one across from his, and she walks up to him with her tea. Well, let's say coffee. With her coffee, and she asks him if she can sit down. Now, he says yes, and they begin talking. Now, over the next few months, they continuously meet up and talk until, well, in the next few days, Hisashi asks for her phone number. Then a couple months later, he asks her out on a date, like an actual date instead of just like meeting up and talking. So she says yes, and he's falling for Inko, but he's like, and they go to movies. They go to like just basically malls, like restaurants, like any place that Inko could want to go, or him. They go to parks. Like they just enjoy spending time with each other. Now, let's see. A year later, no, a year later, Hisashi's like finally decides to take the relationship further, and he asks Inko to marry him. Well, he's going to ask Inko to marry him. So let's say it's on a Monday, and he takes off of work, and well, no, let's say that he makes a ring. He knows how big to make the ring to fit her, so she can easily take it off. But he makes it to where it can like expand a little, to where she can take it off and put it back on, and then go back down to its original size. And let's say asks the moon god of the Japanese culture. Let's say he's completely Japanese, and he's been in touch with them. He asks the moon god if he can have a piece of moon rock from the moon, like if he can imbue it with a little power to protect her, and he can give it to her as a proposal. Now, he gives something. He gives something in return. Like this isn't going to play a part of the story, so he just gives something in return. Something that interested the moon god, and well, he gets the piece. Now, he like he like it's let's say it's about the size of a fist, and he takes pieces off of it and like shapes it, stuff like that, and he sets it into the ring. Like he made places where the rocks could fit, well could sit, and the stones fuse with the ring, like it's part of the ring, and it's a special type of metal. Like, mm, let's say it's no. Let's say that it's gold. No, silver and gold mixed together. Like it's a wrapping of silver and gold with pieces on it. Uh, Hold on. Let me look up a picture. Okay, so I found a ring that kind of looks better. It's the top left with the blue jewels on it. Dang, that didn't work. And the diamond, but the diamond, like the blue jewels are going to stay, and that's going to be like the shards of the moon rock. But then the diamond is going to be the core of the moon rock. It's going to have a special diamond in it. Now this will protect her. Like it's basically like a barrier that keeps monsters away. And well, he makes like that's only like a quarter of the center of the moon rock. So yeah. So he keeps the other three parts of the moonstone like into a safe, and then he keeps the actual moon rocks in a place like he puts it in a place where it can absorb the light from the sun, so it can stay powered. Now this in turn powers the core of the moon rock, what we're going to call moonstone. Now, a moonstone diamond, basically. So, yeah, so she has that, and well, he makes that, and it's probably about like 3 days later. Those two have basically been living in an apartment together. They've just been lovey-dovey, basically. Now, Hephaestus, he wants to make it special. So, 2 days after he makes the ring, he's planning the most perfect date. Now he takes her. No, he goes to a restaurant, not too fancy because he doesn't like that fancy stuff that much. Then no, not a restaurant. he sets up a picnic up in the woods. Now, he takes her out all day. Like, they've just been going to different stores. They've been walking around town, and he's like slowly leading her to the mountains. And it's almost it's almost sunset. Well, it's getting close to sunset, so he takes her to the mountains and he leads her to the picnic. Now, they're eating and sunset has arrived, and Zeus and Hephaestus. No. Zeus. No. I want to say a few. Like, he always keeps 5 blacksmiths with him. And he only does it to the people that he knows he can trust. But he doesn't tell the new 5. No, it's the kids of the 5 original blacksmith. The blessing gets passed down, and they get told. The ones who go into the blacksmithing gets told who Hephaestus actually is. And it's like only the oldest do it. And well, those 5 were there. They're recording. They set up cameras. They're recording. They're hidden, and they're just waiting for him to propose. And he gets up. He walks to the edge because they're in a place where they can see the ocean. And like just a beautiful scene. The ocean, the city, and just like the sunset shining through the city and over the ocean, making it extremely beautiful. Pink skies, like a pinkish sky, just extremely beautiful. Oh, hold on. It's just extremely beautiful, and he proposes to her. Now, she's crying, and she says yes. That's when she hugs him and kisses him, and everybody just jumps out from the hiding spots and starts cheering. And Hisashi and Inko, they look back. Inko's surprised to see them there, and they all realize what they did, and they just like start running. Well, no, they don't run. They apologize profusely, but congratulate the two on getting engaged. Now, Hephaestus doesn't tell Inko who he actually is, and well, he won't know until she won't know until Izuku is born. But so let's see. It's been a year. So yeah, it's born 25. So let's fast forward another year, and Inko is pregnant. You can tell she's like she's almost ready to give birth, and she's meeting up with Mitsuki because they were friends. Mitsuki, like, he confided in Mitsuki like what she liked. Well, he knew a lot of what he liked, but like stuff that he didn't know about her. And she liked the moon. Like, we're just gonna say that she liked the moon. So Hephaestus doesn't tell her what it is until she actually asks. Like, the rocks on it are glowing during the day. Well, during the night they give off a small glow, especially the core. The core is just like it just like shines a little, but you just think that it's from the sun or a little light, but it does that in the dark. It basically has stored up energy from the sun that it glows in the dark. And she notices this, and she asks him, like, what is it from? And he tells her that, well, it's moon rock. Like, this is probably about 3 weeks after they got engaged. Like, it's a moon core and moon rock. And she doesn't believe him until he takes her to the place and shows her the core and the moon rock. And she's like, "Where'd you get this?" And Hephaestus says, "Well, let's just say a friend gave it to me. We'd made a deal. I gave him something. I gave him or her something, and they gave me something. And they gave me this in return. So we have that." And he says, "Always keep the ring on you, because it'll protect you." And she's kind of confused by this. But anyways, let's get back to Mitsuki and Inko. So they're talking, and well, those two are already married, and she keeps the engagement ring around her neck while having the wedding ring on her finger. Now, Mitsuki goes into labor, and Inko calls Hephaestus. She's like, "Hisashi, get over here. Mitsuki's going into labor. I'll call..." Dang. Uh... Forgot his name. I'll call her husband, and I'll get him down to the hospital. So, Hephaestus drives there like 5 minutes after that, because, well, he was going, like, they're at their house, and he was on his way home. So he just drives faster. And, he gets there, he runs into the house, and he's like, "Where is she?" Like, she goes outside and ushers him inside, and he asks, "Where is she?" And she shows him, and he gets her into the car, and he drives her to the hospital, and they get her into the dang, I forgot the name of it, but they get her, and what's his face arrives later. Uh, he arrives, and he's asked for Mazara, Masaru, however you pronounce his name. Masaru. I was just going to say Masaru. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So he gets there, and asks. He gives her his name and the name of Mitsuki, and he's led into her room, and she's about to give birth, and he goes over to her. She grabs his hand and just squeezes it. Now, Inko, she's like sitting down, like a little worried, but trying to stay calm. With Hephaestus, like holding on to her, like saying everything's going to be okay. They're going to come out, and their baby's going to be healthy. And a few hours later, Masaru comes out, and he's relieved. He goes over to Inko, says that the baby's fine, Mitsuki's fine, and she kind of fell asleep after naming him. Well, after giving him the name, and they know, Inko and Hephaestus knew that they wanted that Mitsuki wanted to name him Katsuki. And, like, they all just knew that his name was going to be Katsuki, and well, they've helped each other on baby names, so yeah, that like they're getting names from each other. They just dished out they just dished out some names, and Katsuki's one that they decided on. So like they a few weeks later, they're allowed to take the baby home, and I forgot how long they are apart. Hmm, I don't want to say a year. Hmm, how old is Bakugo in this? Because I know Izuku's 15 when he gets in. Uh, Satsuki's 16, I believe. Hold on, I'm looking it up. Yeah, they are both 15, so yeah. So let's say it's probably about 2 months after Katsuki's born that Inko goes into labor. And Hisashi's with her, spending time with her when she goes into labor, and he puts her in the car, takes her to the hospital. Then he calls Mitsuki and Masaru, Masaru, however the fuck you pronounce his name. And he calls them and says Inko's going into labor. We'll be arriving at the hospital soon. And well, Deku's born a few hours later, and that's when Katsuki and Midoriya get introduced to each other. No, let's say a few weeks pass and they're introduced to each other. Now, Katsuki, he's not going to have his like they're just like going to play and stuff like that, and well, something seems different with Izuku. Now, he's like learning at an extreme rate. Let's say a few uh, a few weeks pass, and no, well, let's say a year passes and Izuku says his first word. Like, he's going to be extremely smart in this. He says his first word, and everybody's surprised. Like, this kid picked up on language at an extreme rate. Not as much as I'm willing to make. No. Let's say he learns it probably about. Uh, 1 second. Okay, so I looked it up. It's about 10 to 14 months of age when they say the first word. Let's say he says probably about like 8 months, because I don't know. Yeah, 8 months of age when he says his first word. And he's progressing faster. By the time he's, like, he's struggling at first, but when when he's 1 years old, he's like you can understand him, but he doesn't know so much. Like you know what he's trying to get at. You can understand him perfectly, and he's just incredibly smart, and they're not put off by this, but they're like just like getting teaching him new things. And let's say Katsuki is like how do you put it, like in awe of Deku, like how well he's doing. Like, why can't I speak as clear as him? Like, they understand what he's wanting, but when I try to talk, they're having trouble understanding what I'm saying. So he's a little jealous. Let's move this a little. And but he's a little jealous, but he's in awe. And well, like let's skip up to when they're 5. No, let's skip up to when they're 4. Katsuki, I don't say Katsuki's quirk awakens first, and he starts to get the big head, but Izuku, like, he's going to have enhanced strength and stuff like that. Not at stamina, just like enhanced strength and durability because of Hephaestus. And well, let's see. Hephaestus got into fighting, so he like Izuku kind of inherited his knowledge of fighting. Like that's part of his. Like, I'm just like giving him some stuff. And well, uh, the next day, like Katsu's getting like a big head, but he's not getting too big of a head. Like I'm the best, but there's a chance that Izuku could have a extremely awesome quirk. Now everybody knows that he likes to build, and they're thinking like his quirk could have something to do with that, and it does, to an extent. And the next day, Izuku's missing a part from his thing, and he says, "I need this type of material, such and such." No, let's change his quirk from imaginary metal to well, yeah, imaginary metal. So he could take his imagination. He can like make the metal, and shape it into any form that he wants in his imagination, or he can do it by hand. And he can take it and like put it together in any way he wants. But he has to have a blueprint for the creation that he wants, so he can create the stuff. So he's just pulling random stuff out, and he notices that he's missing a piece. So he's like, "I need this piece, and it needs to be made out of this type of metal." So it like he sees like he knows the shape of it, and it just appears right in front of him. Like it's just like he needs the shape and stuff, but in his head, when he gets older, it's going to get stronger and stronger. Right now, it's kind of weak. Like he can only make small stuff right now, and everybody Katsuki's like looking at him building, and he sees that he pulled something out of it. Like something just appeared in front of him. He's like, "Deku, what was that?" And he says, I don't know. I thought of something. I thought of apart from a thing, and it appeared." So he thinks of it again, and it appears again, and he's like, "Ooh, my quirk working, my quirk working," and he's extremely happy. And Katsuki's like, "Well, is it a creation quirk? It technically is a creation quirk, and I'm going to. The limit is his like it'll give him a headache if he overuses it, and he can train it by meditating and stuff like that. But he's not going to figure that out until later on. And the more complex it is, the more mental strain it takes on him. So he's getting a slight headache, and he puts his hand to his head and is like rubbing it a little. But so he like his excitement gets to the point where it's no he can't feel it, and his parents get called, and he puts the part onto it, and it starts like it's let's say it's a robotic toy with, and it just starts walking around, and everybody's like knows that he does this a lot. He makes stuff that shouldn't be possible, and it's just moving around. Now he hasn't unlocked any of his godly abilities quite yet. It's just that his blacksmithing is like thanks to his dad. He's always going to have that. From the day he was born, he had it, but he just couldn't do nothing. So everybody's like not surprised that it's a quirk that goes with him making stuff, like because that's something that he's naturally born good at, and everybody knows it. And he gives the toy to Katsuki, and his parents arrive. Akatsuki, he's like playing with it, and he's like seeing what it can do, and it can do incredible stuff. He has a remote to it because, well, he made a remote for it, and it has all these complex buttons. No, it has these buttons with simple instructions on it, and his parents take him to the quirk doctor, and they run tests on him, and they find out that he can create small stuff, and they say that it could become stronger in the future. But when he just like imagines a metal, an ore pops out, or a refined ore pops out, like iron pops out, or ore pops out. It just depends on what you want. But they found out that he can shape it in any form that he wants. And I want to say that Hephaestus is kind of surprised by it because he didn't think that he would have a quirk, and that he would use his ability to like act as a quirk. Thinking that it could be enhanced further, so he's like, I can have train him in the powers that he gets from me, and have have him say that it's part of his quirk. So he's going to have fire manipulation and imaginary metal as a quirk. So they don't know about the fire part. Actually, let's say that he's like stood in fire, and they know that he has heat resistance. Like has an extremely high he has an extremely high heat resistance. I'm sorry if the mic's bad. I don't know if it is. I'm moving around a lot. But and he likes to go into the fireplace because he's just like likes the heat. He likes it on his skin. And when there's no fire, he like Inko's watching him, and she's like, when there's no fire, she lets him stay in there. But when there is fire, she has Hisashi get him out because she knows that he likes the fire pit. And they keep wood in it all the time. And one day, she sees him get into the fire pit. It's not lit, and she looks away, and then she can feel a small heat, and it's growing stronger. And turns around at the fireplace, and it's like lit. And she's wondering what's happened, and she knows that Hephaestus, like, he breathed fire. Well, he made it look like he breathed fire. No, let's say that he could manipulate. Let's say that he showed her that he manipulated fire. So she's like, oh, she must have awakened his quirk. But Hephaestus didn't want him to go to the doctors yet, and he's slowly turning human. And he knows this, but he's like kind of doesn't care. But because he wants to stay with them. But let's say that after, like, he says, don't take it until he's like 4 or 5, where kids usually get their quirks, and she reluctantly agrees to it. And let's say that Zeus came over and says, I know you have a feud with Ares and Aphrodite, but you need to come back. And Hephaestus is like not wanting to go. And well, Zeus says, it's an order. I'm not giving you an option. You need to come back. We need you. Like, we need you, stuff's going down. Like, not a war between the guys, but, like, people, like, fight. Like, it's like a kind of a small family fight. Not, like, we're going to cast war on each other. Not like that. Like, a little arguments about because Zeus told him. No, Zeus didn't tell him, but they're like, Ares is finally questioning if Hephaestus is alive, and he's demanding Zeus to let him go look for Hephaestus to see if he's truly dead. And but he says, well, he went into the bottom of the sea, right? And Ares says yes. And Zeus says, that's not my domain. I cannot give you permission to go down there. You have to take it up with Poseidon. So he does, and Poseidon's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you permission to go look down there because he's not there. His body's not in my domain. It probably drifted off into another. Because everybody knows that there's other gods. Of course they do, because, like, if they didn't, then that'd just be stupid. Like, they have a Roman counterpart. I know I'm rambling. Damn. But, yeah. So, like, I know you've trained more and you've gotten a lot stronger. And his Greek side did get a hell of a lot stronger, which is why Deku is going to be extremely powerful. And he's going to have more of a godly side. He's still going to be half human, half god, but his godly side is going to be extremely powerful, like the most powerful god, like most powerful demigod ever. No, not ever, like he's going to be one of the most powerful demigod. In terms of fighting and like just regular Hephaestus stuff, like he's just going to be one of the strongest there is. And even Zeus's children is going to have a hard time with him. And Zeus's children are extremely powerful, including Athena's children. Like their battle senses are battles awareness is extremely high. Like it's probably one of the highest. Like Ares and hers is like, or neck and neck basically. Because yeah, they're both the war gods, and Hephaestus isn't. But he's like he's improved on his fighting style and everything, and he's like becoming more than just a blacksmith god. So yeah, it's oof an hour long. I'm gonna end it soon because I'm coming up on the perfect part to leave off. So this is where, well, Deku's 3, when this happens, so he really isn't going to have the memories of Hephaestus, which he's told is Hisashi, which he's going to go by. But before he leaves, he tells, crap. Sorry about that. That's my brother. I'll have to call him back. He tells her, like, his actual identity. And that the moonstone is from... Like, he doesn't tell who the moonstone's from, just that it's from a friend of his. And she can kind of guess who it is. Because, well, yeah, they're in Japan, they're like, there's a moon god, so yeah, of course he's going to be able to guess who it is. And, well, he makes a necklace for Izuku at a young age, and he makes one for Katsuki. Then he saves the last piece for Izuku to, like, make for his children. Or his wife. His future wife. Now, he gives the passcode to the last piece of the moon core to Inko. Now, she memorizes it and writes it down and puts it into like a safe location to where nobody can find it. Not even Izuku when he like snoops around and stuff. Because he is a curious person in this. He wants to know a lot. And I'm going to, like... So, yeah. I'm also going to give him another... Like a ability from Hephaestus' side. Which isn't actually there. I'm just going to make it up. Say that Izuku's the only one that's going to have it. Besides maybe his children. But only his bloodline is going to have it, and no other bloodline is going to have it. So, yeah. So, he tells her that he has to leave, and like, Hisashi Midoriya is like a alias, my real name is Hephaestus, son of Zeus, and he gives her proof. And he tells her his what's it called, Japanese god name, but he says refer to me as Hisashi, like, because that's my human name over it. And he likes this name because it is the original name that the old man said to use. Like, like use this every so often. Say that it's a hand down. No, he gets it from a friend. He gets the name from a friend saying like, "Oh yeah, use this name. It sounds like a pretty cool name," and he likes it. So he's like, refer to me as this when you're talking to other people, and to Izuku until he's like the appropriate age, like 12 or 13, I believe. 13 it is, I believe, is when they get claimed. And well, he's like, tell him that I had to go on a overseas trip to provide money to like set up a what's it called, a set up a place in America. Now I'm going over to America and setting up a place over there for the companies, for the two companies that I own, and that when he's like 15, like when he's 15, he can like become the boss, like a sub boss of a company. No, let's say when he's 13, he becomes a, like he says, take him to this place and say that, and like give them this letter, and he'll run that business until he's fully prepared to run the whole thing. Now, he leaves the business to uh, his five closest friends in the human world. No, it's not going to be Masaru, Masaru. However you pronounce his name. Fuck it. I'm just going to keep on, like, just keep on saying that. Oh well. I'm rambling again. Damn. But he's like, yeah, and he leaves the company to those five people. You know, he says, y'all not to split it up or anything. Y'all to temporarily run it until my son comes of age and I'm passing it down to him. Now, they're not surprised by this, but. And he's not dead yet, so they technically cannot split it up. He's like giving them temporary, like a temporary CEO position while he goes overseas to start up a branch for the companies that they're working at. And I'm gonna say he can bless the engineers, like allow them to work better, faster, more efficient, and their engineering stuff is better. And the scientists too, because I said that he's going to become like a mixture between like three or four gods. He's not going to become a war god. He's like a extreme small fighting god, like an extremely small fighting god. Uh, a blacksmithing god, a scientist god, and dang, that's probably it. Just like those three, and that's like his Japanese version. And so yeah, so he's like blessed like five people in each like place, and those five are the leaders of their part of the thing. So he goes overseas, and she's like, he gives her ownership of the place, but says that when he comes of age, the ownership is going to be transferred to him. And he makes a paper, and they both sign it, like giving her like half like ownership, half ownership, ownership of it, of the companies, and saying that it's to be passed down to Deku when he's of a certain age. So that's where I'm going to leave this off. I hope y'all enjoyed let's say that it's an hour-long special. Well, yeah, it's going to be special because, well, I've got like 80, probably even more now. 80 sub, an 80 sub special. Let's just say it's that. No, yeah, let's say it's an 80 sub special. So thank y'all for the subs. I hope y'all have a nice day, and well, I'll see y'all later. Bye.